We're going to talk today about the 5 biggest reasons why women over 50 give up on their dream of finding love. And I'm going to share some of the ways that you may have some toxic thinking that's cheating you out of the hope and possibility of finding love at this time in your life. And these toxic ways of thinking can cause you to literally give up on what you so want, and that is the love of a good man that you deserve. So let's get into these 5 ways of toxic thinking. And the first one is expecting fast results. So I've talked to women in the past who have said, "Oh, I went out with 5 different men and I didn't find the one. And so I'm going to give up." This is before we started working together because they thought that they should go out there and they should find the guy right away. I mean, how many times have you thought that? I know when I first started dating in my 40s, I thought it was going to be the easiest thing in the world, that I was going to find my guy really fast and we would go live happily ever after wherever we were. I didn't realize it would take a while and a couple relationships to make this happen. So when you expect fast results, or if you have an expectation of how everything should go, it's a really big setup for failure. You've got to give yourself time, because going out with different men is actually going to help you be able to determine what it is that you love about men now, what it is that you want now. Because we usually date from our past versus from where we are right now. We date from chemistry versus what's going to be good for the long haul for me. And so it is a process, it is a journey. And for when you've heard these women say before, "Oh, I started dating in the summer and I met my guy like in the winter," and that kind of thing, what ends up happening is you get scared. You go, "Oh my God, you're comparing yourself." Don't do the comparison game. And forgot to turn my phone off. And you are comparing yourself, and whenever you compare yourself, the results are never as good as someone else's results. You want to go at your own pace and you don't want to compare because it's going to make you fail. You want to really stick around, play the long game, recognize this is a journey. It's going to take more than 5 dates to make this happen. The second way of toxic thinking is stopping the process of believing in yourself. So it's really interesting what happens. When I talk to women, I'll say, "Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your confidence?" And in real life, they'll say it's about a 10. And then I'll say, "What about in dating?" And they'll say anywhere from -10 to 10. And usually when it's down in those lower realms, anywhere from -10 to about 7, it's because we're running what I call dating malware underneath our thoughts and our beliefs. So I'll give you an example from my own life. So many women I talk with, they just do not feel good enough to get what it is that they want. They'll settle, and what they'll do is they'll think, "Oh, I'll pick a guy, I can fix him up, and then he can be who I want." And that's because of that dating malware mindset underneath of "I'm not good enough." All right, so when I first started dating after a 24-year marriage, I went on eHarmony. And they asked the question, "What would a friend say about you as the greatest thing about you?" And all these men were writing, "I'm fit. I would want her to know that I'm fit." And I was like intimidated by this because I was not into fitness. Do I walk every day? Yes. Do I do some weights? Yeah, a little. But back then, I was not into any of that. And I was intimidated because I was thinking what was happening. I didn't realize it at the time was I actually had that dating mindset malware underneath that was "I'm not good enough." So I actually called eHarmony and I said, could you stop sending me guys that say that they have to be, that they're fit and that's the best thing about them? I am sure they had like a big laugh after I got off the phone with them. But I was showing in that instance where I'm not good enough. And that is one of the things we run in underneath what it is that we want. And so it becomes into conflict. It totally comes into conflict. So you're going out there and you're thinking, I want this kind of guy. But underneath, you're thinking, I'm not good enough to have him. So it's really hard to bring him in and to let him, it's really hard to vibrationally bring him into your life. In fact, it's almost impossible. And what you'll do is you will attract men who also don't feel good enough about themselves. You need to have an awareness of how you feel about yourself. It's something that when I work on this with my clients and we go through this whole exercise to see what is holding them back, it usually comes because someone told you something in the past that about yourself that you're hanging on to and you're believing. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize I was doing this. So you've got to start believing in yourself. You've got to stop that dating mindset malware that's sitting underneath, and you have to have a recognition, and you want to know how to clean that up. That's something I work with women all the time, because you do have to get it cleaned up if you really want the guy that you want. The third dating mindset that can be toxic for dating is getting stuck in your past. Maybe you've been burnt in a relationship. Maybe you were ghosted. Maybe a date fell through that you were having so much fun and it never went anywhere. And then what happens is you start thinking, what is wrong with me? Anyone ever do that? We all do it. What's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? There's nothing wrong with you. What it is you start over analyzing, trying to figure out what went wrong. You can't get into the guy's head. And the only way you could is if you had someone call the guy and say, why didn't you want to go out with my friend again? And who's going to do that? But what happens is when you're always worried about, will he like me? It goes back to I'm good enough too, or I've had dates where they seem like so much fun and then it went nowhere. When you're always referring back to those, trying to figure out what's wrong, it keeps you from getting out there and trying again. You're afraid because it was painful. It hurt to have someone do that. So you want to really stop over analyzing. The other thing is dating requires a lot of optimism. Oh my, live Facebook lives, phones ringing everywhere in my house. It's probably one of those robocalls. It always is on that line. See? All right. Dating, oh my God. Dating requires lots of levels of optimism. It means what you got to start to do is when things go kind of south, you have to just reframe those past mistakes into learning experiences. What did I learn from this? That is the best thing you can do so that you don't repeat what's been happening. Don't pound yourself for what you did. Instead, look at what you learned from it. Let go of the hurt so you can move forward. And hold on to this mantra of, he's not rejecting me. I just don't fit who he wants. The idea of who he wants, just like we do to men. They don't always fit the idea of who we want, and we say no to them. So you definitely want to, chalk things up with experience. It's going to get easier for you. Also, I will tell you, my clients have said having a place to know what to do when things like this happen has made such a difference in their lives for being able to move forward, having a coach to get them unstuck. All right, the fourth toxic thing is a fear of success. Believe it or not, we are more afraid of failure of success than we are of staying in our loneliness and then of our not feeling well. or not feeling good about being alone. And the reason for that is because sometimes we're stuck in a rut. Sometimes, we haven't had a date in a while. And so we start making excuses and justifications of why we shouldn't go out there and try again. And what's all beneath that is a fear of rejection again, and a fear of success, a fear it won't happen. And also sometimes, as much as we want it, we're not sure what to do to get there. And that fear of success will keep you from getting the right man in your life. So what you want to do, this is a great place to have a coach, because a coach can say to you, what's going on? What's underneath all that? What are you really afraid of? Because on this shoulder, we have our Wonder Woman. On this shoulder, we have our Debbie Downer. This shoulder wants to fly and be successful. This shoulder with Debbie Downer, she just wants to get out there, and she just wants to keep you safe. And keeping you safe keeps you stuck in old patterns of the way you've done things. It keeps you so that you don't get out of a little tiny box. And when you don't get out of a little tiny box, what happens is you don't get what you want. All right, the fifth toxic way of thinking that can hurt your chances of finding love or cause you to quit is resisting change. So the only thing that is certain is uncertainty. And the only thing that is constant is change. And so many women go out there and they do the same thing that they did when they were in their 20s. They're looking for a guy to have instant chemistry with. They're looking for a guy to feel the butterflies in their stomach. And when we're in our 20s, the reason we have that is because in our 20s, we're looking for a man that we can bond with and have babies with. We need that chemistry. At this time in your life, you want a man that's going to be there for you. It's a whole different way of looking at things. And you want to get really clear on what in a relationship you want now, because there's a different way to go about getting it. I have so many clients that thought, I have to have instant chemistry. And what happened to one of my clients was she didn't. And she let the guy go. And she realized, oh my God, I miss this guy. And she called him and she asked him, I'm so sorry. I was so wrong. Could we try again? Now, most men would say no, but this guy said yes, because he really liked her and he treats her like a queen. And that's because she stopped using that chemistry. She resisted the way, or she had always done everything based on chemistry, but she was failing in relationships, and she didn't know how to change until she started working with me. And we created a quality man template that had her get really clear on what it is that was going to make her happy. And the other thing we did that I do with clients is what's called an emotional guidance system. And that is getting clear on how you want to feel around a man. And this man was treating her like a queen, and she realized, you know what? This is amazing. And that's when the chemistry started growing for her. So change is really important, because you need change to be, if things are not working for you, something's got to change for you, or you're not going to get to where you need to be. And that is in the right relationship. And there's a saying that says, you don't know what you don't know. And that's really true. And my clients have said to me, oh my God, I love being in this group because I'm learning things I never knew before, and it's changing my life, and they're getting clients. I mean, they're getting clients. They're clients. They're getting men in their lives, even during this pandemic. So what I want to offer you is I want to offer you a chance to change your life and to really start to be able to enjoy dating, to have fun dating, and safely today. And it's very doable. We can make that happen for you. So if you're ready to make change in your life, if you're ready to find out, how can I believe in myself? How can I get rid of this dating mindset malware running around inside of me? How can I find love now? I'm so tired of being alone, and we're coming into the winter, and you could be alone even longer. If you're ready to make this change, I would love to be able to help you by offering you a complimentary breakthrough call. It's a 30-minute call. We'll talk about what's been going on in your love life, what's working, what's not working, and how we can get you moving forward. You'll leave that call knowing exactly what you need to find the right man. So if you'd like to apply for one of these sessions, I'm going to put the link in right down here. Here it comes. If you'd like to apply for one of these sessions, go to Find a Quality Man. Oopsie. Go to findaqualityman.com/talk to Lisa. I nearly ended the Facebook Live. And set up a time to talk to me. And I posted the link there. Many women have, and they have truly changed their lives, and they're with men now. All right. I would love to answer any of your questions that you might have about dating. You can post them in here below. And I'll wait a minute to see if any come up. We didn't have any come up in the 2 posts that I posted, and sometimes that happens. Oh, I'll just drink a little water and wait a second here. But anything you want to know about dating, anything that hasn't worked for you with dating, just post it in these comments, and you can get some answers this way. This is like what I do with the women in my group. What are your questions? And all right, well, everyone's being kind of quiet today. So, oh no, here's Suzette. This week from a dating Facebook site, a man from a dating Facebook site reached out to me. He knew that my post said I was looking for a man between 65 and 75. His first message was, I guess you are not looking for someone my age, 57. I told him it didn't mean that we couldn't get to know each other and be friends. We exchanged a few messages in Messenger. His responses kind of indicate that a relationship may be a possibility. Now I am beginning to wonder if I am leading him on by continually communicating with him. I really want someone closer to my age, 71, even though I mentioned friendship. How do you suggest I handle it? Well, Suzette, if you were a client, I would tell you go look at your quality man template and see what this guy has, because sometimes age is irrelevant if he's got what it is that you want. I had a cousin. She dated a man. She was in her 50s. She dated a man who was, no, wait, she was in her 70s. He was in his 50s. And they had an amazing relationship. When she passed away, it devastated him. But it was an amazing relationship. And she kept self-doubting too. Like, what am I doing with this guy in his 50s? How can he possibly like me? Why doesn't he want a woman also his own age? And there's a lot of self-doubt here. You need to get clarity on who it is that you want, because that's how you're going to come from your own power, Suzette. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? And if anyone else has a question, we have some time to answer. I would love to help you find love. So if you have a question, just jot it down. And Suzette, I hope that answered your question. You got to get clarity on who you want, because you're kind of relying on him to decide what's going on, and it's making you self-doubt and self-question. So when you know what you want, you know how to answer, you know how to deal with men that way. Okay, glad that helps, Suzette. All right, does anyone else have a question? Otherwise, we'll call today to an end. If you do, jot it down really quickly so I get it, because I think Facebook takes a minute or two. And if you didn't hear the first part of what we did, I talked about the 5 toxic ways of thinking that keep you stuck and keep you from finding love. Really go back and listen to it. There's a lot in there that'll help you. So Suzette, then you know what you want, so you know what you got to do. And it's up to you if you want to be friends with him or not. All right. I don't see any other questions coming in, but I look forward to talking to you next week. I'll have a whole new Facebook Live. If you want to change your love life, let's set up a time for you and I to talk and help you turn that love life around so that you're not sitting in this group forever single. I want to see you find love. Oh, wait, Suzette wrote one more thing here. You have to figure out how to let him down gently. So that's another thing we work on in our group, and that is in my group program, and that is how to speak the language men speak and hear. Because we as women have this tendency to honor a man versus ourselves. So it's too complicated to go into here, but you just let him down gently, get clear on what you want, and then say it in a sweet way, okay? And for those of you who want to learn that language men speak and hear, let's set up a time to talk, okay? Here's the link, the one more time. It's a complimentary session. We can talk together about how to get you moving forward. All right, sending you love and hugs. Till next Friday. Bye.